Good morning, our teaming viewers out there. We are on your flagship program this morning on ITV and cruising on the wing of nationalism and youth. We are here in Mpape Hill in Abuja, broadcasting live this morning. We will be taking a look at a topic based on the directive of President Muhammadu Buhari Yusuf FR within the week that our security forces should locate, go after, and eliminate the terrorists. That was a strong one. And with me to take a look at the issue arising from this morning is no other person than Ahmad Sajo. Ahmad Sajo is a former commissioner for information and strategy at Adamawa State. He is a socio-political analyst. And in the characteristic of this program, I say nationalism and you.
Yeah, it's my honor and pleasure to actually restore dignity and respect for my country, Nigeria.
You're most welcome, sir.
Thank you very much.
Very well. Go after the terrorists and eliminate them. Nigerians are saying we have continued to hear this directive from the chief, from the commander-in-chief to the security chiefs, times and times again. This time around, what difference will it make?
I think that's not a question for me. It's a question for the service chiefs. You know, no, honestly.
Your expectation, what would you expect?
Own question, but I expect that they go after the terrorists with full force, like every other Nigerian. And I'll be very honest with you. Like every other Nigerian, I'm worried and concerned. If a Sheikh Ahmad Muhammad Kumi, a respected cleric, can locate where the bandit is and even discuss with them and come back with pictures, I see no reason why our security forces cannot locate where they are. It's a very logical thing. And let me also say very strongly that locating the bandits and the terrorists is not very difficult. It's not very difficult. But the commitment on the part of the security agencies to synergize, to work together, to share intelligence, to share operational modalities, such that they become complementary agencies in the fight against terror, is the simplest thing they can do. Once they do that, locating the terrorists, locating the bandits, eliminating them, neutralizing them, will not be too much of a difficult task to do. And I hope and I pray that this latest directive from Mr. President will be a directive that would eventually ginger them to begin to work together. You know, for example, the Air Force that has capacity to send drones on surveillance can go and do surveillance and give the coordinates to the ground troops to go and eliminate these people. It's a simple thing. They operate within us. They buy food from our markets. They buy drugs from our drugstores. They buy water, and other essentials from our shops in the towns, villages, and cities. If we have a very strong intelligence gathering network which coordinates even with local communities, traditional chiefs and co, and identify people who come, and then they share this intelligence, they can route them easily. So I expect that following these latest directives, that the level of cooperation, synergy, and working together between our different security outfits will be greater, and that they would be able to identify these people and of course, neutralize them and eliminate them where necessary.
Many Nigerians are of the strong opinion that the issue concerning eliminating these terrorists, and even some retired military officer that had appeared on some other national television had alluded to the fact that this threat of terrorists can be totally eliminated at a time frame of 6 months if we are serious as a nation. Do you share this view?
I think placing a time frame is a little bit dangerous. Dangerous in the sense that you raise hope. Don't forget that this is not a war that is symmetrical. It's asymmetrical. It's not a war. It's not a conventional war. It's a war that is not conventional in the real sense of it. So the kinetic approach that these people are suggesting may not operate as seamlessly as they think. You could go after these people with all the forces at your hands. If you do not process your intelligence correctly, they are bound to use human shields to protect themselves, and you end up losing your innocent citizens in the process. We've just witnessed it recently, where they modeled up some intelligence, and in the process, the Air Force went and bombed the wrong location. It has happened in the Northeast, it has happened in the Northwest, and it's happening all over the country. Because these people we are fighting are not your run-of-the-mill conventional armies you're fighting. That's one. Two, because these people are not conventional armies, we may have rules of engagement on our own side. They don't have rules of engagement on their own side. And because they don't have rules of engagement, you have to be very careful in addressing them. So fixing a time frame is a little bit, strong. But I tell you, with commitment, political will on the part of those of us in government, and, determination on the part of the fighting forces, if we combine these two, and then effective intelligence gathering and sharing, intelligence gathering, processing, and sharing, we will be able to eliminate this thing within a period. I don't want to fix a period to it, but we can do it within a period, and that I know is doable. But there's a danger, my dear brother Ebenezer. There's a huge danger that we almost always overlook, but that is there. And that danger is there a nexus between the terror activities that are taking place across the country, whether it is insurgency, whether it is banditry, whether it is kidnapping for ransom, whatever. Is there a nexus between these activities and two very dangerous things? One is drug abuse and drug-related misuse. And two, our everyday social life are people who are highly connected, rich, and even within our setup, whether it's in government or in the security forces. Is there a nexus between them and what is happening? If we are not able to establish the presence or absence of a nexus, and if there is the presence of a nexus, a connect, if we are not able to eliminate it, we will be wasting our time. And time again, we have had reason to believe that there is a nexus. There is a connect. There are some insiders. Recently, we learned that a military official who was involved in terror activities in the Northeast, was arrested, handcuffed, but that in his handcuffs, he overpowered his guards, took their gun, cocked the gun, and killed himself. It may be a story that is put out there, but you think I believe it? I don't.
I should ask you.
You think I believe it? I don't. You believe it? Then I don't know. But I think, I still believe that there are a lot of gaps in these things. If you capture a collaborator, it's a huge thing. Every steps will be taken to make sure that that collaborator is taken to the interrogation room, and you extract as much of his partners in crime as possible, so as to avert what I'm trying to tell you. So we must look at it very carefully, dispassionately, and see if there is any connect between anybody, either in government or in the security services, that is a collaborator. That if we don't eliminate, wallahi, not you're talking about time frame. Till eternity, we will not be able to get over these things.
Another issue Nigerians are concerned about is that there appear not to be
enough arrests that is commensurate with all the kinetic operations we have carried out, with all the going after we have been doing. There appear not to have been a commensurate arrest, and where there are arrests, there appear not to be a drastic prosecution to convince Nigerians that we are doing the right thing, having to deal with this.
No, I think we must be careful also again.
Okay.
We must be very careful. Some of these military and security operations are not operations that should be celebrated all of the times. The reason, of course, is to ensure that instead of defeating our enemy with the element of surprise, the enemy does not turn out to be the one to defeat us with the element of surprise. So when you expose too much of your operations, you are exposing your strategies to your enemy, and your enemy will develop new strategies to overcome you. If you notice the recent attack in Borno that resulted in the identification of an infiltrator, one of the things the security agencies noticed is that the insurgents normally come in a very noisy manner, shooting guns in the air and the rest when they want to come to a place to attack. Then all of a sudden they came quietly, moved in quietly, and attacked quietly. So there was a change of strategy. And when the security forces were investigating why it happened that way, they realized that there was a briefing in which they had intelligence that these people were coming to attack. They had briefed their men that these people are coming to attack, but they are coming in this manner. Then they came in a different manner, meaning somebody must have informed them that this is what is expected. So I'm telling you this so that you know that some of the military operations or some of the security operations that take place are done in a manner that does not expose our strategy. But you're absolutely right that there should be more arrests, more open prosecutions. That way we would also restore confidence in our justice system, and we will distinguish ourselves from the animals out there that operate, in an animalistic manner, that we are an organized society. And we also want to say it's combined. Society functions as an organogram, not as an organic entity, not as disparate, separate entities. So as the security agencies are going after these people, arresting them, and we're expecting that our judiciary should also be alive to prompt prosecution, prompt sentencing of people that are found to have a hand in terror. All the judicial rigmarole that creates delays in passing judgment, should be eliminated, because the maxim have always been justice delayed is justice denied. But here in Nigeria, you could take a matter to court and it will last for 10 to 15 years. There are cases that have lasted for nearly 20 years in our judiciary. I mean, how many people, if a case lasts for 5-6 years, the assumption is that it's been forgotten and ignored.
Now, another issue that is of paramount concern and worries to Nigerians was that some time ago, the Emirate Kingdom in Dubai, they identified some sponsors of Nigerian terrorism. And Nigeria began to wonder, how come a foreign country in whose domain this terrorism is not being carried out, we're able to identify those who are fighting against us or those who are sponsoring them. And we seem to be helpless in locating sponsors, strategic sponsors, big men sponsors, and we have not been able to bring anyone out. Are you as concerned as other Nigerians concerned in this?
Yeah, but my concern is not that Dubai identified and we did not identify. No, that's not my concern.
Tell us.
My concern is we're, in all our facets of our life, we're paying the price of our indiscipline. When you're operating an indisciplined system, there is a price. Everything has a price. This is a country where you can walk into the bank and withdraw 100 million naira and put in your bag and go. Nobody will ask you why. Nobody monitors your transactions. Nobody cares. In fact, we've tried to go cashless. We've been unable to go cashless. There are places you go with your cashless, your ATM will not work. You do bank transfer, network has failed. We are not there. If we're there, we would be able to know. There are countries in this world, the moment you go and you want to make a transaction and you bring out $100 bill, they will ask you why. The only transaction above $100 and above must go through the banking system. So use your credit card so we can monitor your transactions. In Nigeria, Ebenezer, if you have money, you can go and buy something 100 million now and pay cash. Can't you? We're paying for our indiscipline. So if anybody wants to launder money for terrorism use in this country, he goes to any bureau de change and he launders his money. Nobody monitors what is happening there. But in Dubai, you want to launder money, the system is open. I tell you something. If you go to Dubai and you change lane on the road without putting your trafficator, simple. I'm just telling you this. It happened to me. It happened to somebody close to me. Changing lane without using your trafficator. As soon as you reach your destination, you will receive a call. Car so and so, they have the details of your car, and then you have changed lane without trafficating. As simple as that. If you beat traffic, no policeman or road safety will follow you. You will receive a call. You beat traffic so and so. If you go to Rwanda, poor Rwanda here, if you beat traffic, nobody will talk to you. The man will take his device and snap the number plate on your vehicle. And the next thing is that all your details come out and then they look for you. In Nigeria, how many people are driving with, in fact, in FCT, all the motorcycles that are operating in FCT have no number plate. No, serious. And then these boys, some of them don't even have residences. Go to Mpate here, come out, see the motorcycle, show me one that has a number plate. And these boys, they don't have accommodation. They're just on that motorcycle. In the night, they will find a place to just stay. So if they commit a crime, they just drive away. And that's the end. So if you cannot run an indisciplined society and then expect the discipline in that society. So our system must be disciplined enough in such a way that if Ebenezer Oyateke moves certain amount of money to Ahmad Sajo, both Ebenezer and Sajo should be investigated, and then we find what went wrong. Then we can say this Ebenezer is helping Sajo to finance terrorism. Oh, you're telling me that you did Dubai. In Dubai it works that way. In other countries it works that way. That's what they could trace.
Now, moment after the Dubai episode, our own Attorney General came out and announced to the Nigerian people that over 400 people practicing in Bureau de Change has been identified to be involved in the sponsorship of terrorism. And this was hyped throughout Nigerians, and Nigerians were expecting that by now some certain heads would have been rolling, and some certain people would have been arraigned for such pronouncement coming from our own Attorney General. And it seems the things just came out like an Andrew Liversalt, and it subsided, and the lifespan of this same government is going out, and we are not hearing anything talking about it. And some people said we cover up a lot of things by saying we are still under investigation. Why do you come out before investigation is concluded? What's your take on this?
I started by telling you this, that if we do not establish the nexus between crime and government operations, and if we do not eliminate people in positions of authority who have a hand in supporting, sponsoring, and assisting criminals in this country, we will not get anywhere. So some of these bureau de change belong to people in government.
Okay.
Some of these bureau de change, they are patrons. Even if they don't own them, their patrons are in government. Some of these bureau de change are operating courtesy of loopholes in the government system. We all know. I beg my brother, don't pretend. We all know. And until we're able to solve that problem, we will not go anywhere. There are people in positions of authority who very unpatriotically and criminally assist the process of undermining the system in this country. And unfortunately, we, the citizens, we, the people of the country, are the ones that are encouraging them to do it. Why? Because you go back to your village now, nobody respects you. That the fact that you influence public opinion on television is nothing. If you do not have money to dispense, you are useless. The fact that you are highly educated is useless. The fact that you have achieved some results, even the fact that you are an honest civil servant and you are delivering services, is nonsense. You need to have money. So, because you need to have money, you abuse the trust that the nation places on you as a government official. You get money, you go home, you are respected. You share cars. Didn't you hear government officials sharing 30, 40, 50 cars? Where did they get the money from? You go to a village, you are not respected, but you need to be respected. You do rituals, money rituals, you get money. You do 419, you get money. You do bribery and corruption, you get money. Immediately you get that money, go home. A chieftaincy title is waiting for you. Bam. An honorary doctorate degree is waiting for you in the university. Bam. I mean, you know, let's be fair and honest with ourselves. That's where we are. That's the kind of people we are. You go home, you don't have money, nobody visits you. You hold money, you go home, and the whole community comes to visit you. Our son is a big man. Big man not by position, big man not by bringing in development to our place, big man not by alleviating poverty amongst our people, big man by just sharing money. That's all. So we have a system like that, and you expect that we also have order in our system. But my friend, you are expecting too much.
Now, recently, with all the arrests, with all the volumes of arrests being made, you have already alluded to that, but let me rephrase this. With all the magnitude of arrests being made by the NDLEA under the new chairman,
General
Buba Marwa, and particularly about a week ago, a business magnate who also owned a pharmaceutical company was arrested, having been traced for more than 3 months. It took them almost about 3 months tracing them because they arrested 2 of his boys, and those 2 boys they arrested with 5 cartons of narcotic drug, this, what do you call it?
Tramadol.
Tramadol, led them to capture another 197 and the rest of it cartons. And the NDLEA in their report said the police intelligence unit headed by Abakari that arrested those boys and arrested the one and confiscated 197, making a total of 202. When eventually they were reverting it back to the NDLEA, the police did return only 12 cartons to NDLEA. And the NDLEA are saying that over some 190 or so are missing. What does this portend to our country?
I really don't know. I won't answer that question. Let me tell you, first, let me say I'm very proud.
Trying to establish a nexus between terrorism and drug.
I'm very proud of General Buba Marwa as somebody that we came from the same location with.
Okay.
I'm very, very proud of him, what he's doing. But you see, again, my take in all of this is that if you do not connect leadership at all levels with crime, you cannot eliminate crime. Janabuba Marwa gave a suggestion recently that people seeking political offices should undergo drug tests. And the human rights community, Nigerians, political parties, no, we don't like it. If leaders take drugs and then they assume leadership of the country, tell me how they will eliminate drug abuse. It's part of them. If people high up in security agencies are involved in drug trade, it will be very difficult to eliminate drug trade in the country. That's just it. So, but this drug abuse has a multiplier effect. Every terror activity you see taking place has some element of drug abuse attached to it. Every crime committed, big or small, has a connection with drug abuse. Even the young boys that you see, we use as our thugs during political rallies and the political activities. Go and check. They are first and foremost high on drugs before they carry their clubs and whatever and join us. They say, Kai, all this, they're already into drugs. So if we can condone drug abuse at a certain level, and we now say we don't want drug abuse at another level, it's not possible. It's either the thing is condemnable, bam, or the thing is acceptable. But you go halfway, you condemn it in one breath, you allow it in another breath, you participate in providing it at another level, and you expect that the thing can be eliminated. It's difficult. It's impossible.
We have been watching on various movies and television stations, foreign countries like Philippines and the rest of it, in their movies, a senior military officers who sits on the table or desk that is ought to be fighting against terror, also possessing a terror group in the bush, Bush and things of that nature. Nigerians are saying, with some of the reports that we are getting lately, including the one you alluded to, a man that was captured, a military officer that was captured, handcuffed, and inside the handcuff was able to disarm everybody and then committed a suicide and the rest of it. Nigerians are suspecting a higher command of our security forces involved in the trade of banditry. Do you share this view?
What the view I share is that there's a connect between all the criminal activities that are taking place and some highly placed persons who are very unpatriotic, who are heartless, who do not care about this country but care only about themselves and what amount of resources they can accumulate and what amount of honor and respect they can garner by the resources they own, not by the achievements of their service to our country. That I believe very sincerely.
Riding upon the directive of the president, the Chief of Army Staff was in Sokoto State to commission the front of battle against the terror. And after that, he went to pay a homage to the Sultan of Sokoto, Sultan Said Abubakar. And during the conversation, he made use of the statement that we will go after the bandits, leaders, and their head, and we will get them. And Sultan Abubakar retorted, don't beautify them. You know himself being a military officer, retired. Don't beautify them with the name bandits. Call them terrorists and criminals, and let us go all out against them. Does it make me, is there any difference from the use of the word bandits and terrorists?
Yeah, there is a huge difference.
Okay.
Bandits usually are concerned with stealing. Okay. Bandits are thieves, ordinary thieves who raid a location, steal what they can steal and go away. But terrorists are the people that not only take resources, but they take human lives, they inflict misery, they inflict fear. I mean, terrorists, as the name implies, are people who inflict terror on society. People are terrified of them beyond what you can think of. You know, Nigerians are very interesting people. We laugh over everything that happens to us, and that is what is getting us going. We're resilient people, and we create jokes out of everything. I remember one of those beautiful jokes I have always enjoyed, that a group of people, travelers, were attacked, and then they were all asked, they were ambushed and asked to come out of their vehicles. They came out of the vehicles. Then the attacker said, look, we're armed robbers. So the guy said, oh my God, where have you been all this while? You are our brothers now. We thought you were kidnappers. No, it's kidnappers we don't like. But we are brothers. What do you want? You know, so Nigerians are now beginning to say, even the armed robbers that used to terrorize the roads are better off than these terrorists and kidnappers. So do you understand the difference? To a large extent, if somebody can stop you, Ebenezer, and say, look, how much is in your pocket, give it to me. It's a bad thing, but it's a manageable thing. But if it takes you away to the bush and asks your family for money, and in some instances, your family pays the money and he kills you, I mean, that's too heartless. So this is why these guys are terrorists. These guys, they take resources, they take wealth, they take lives, they take away livelihood and living, they take away even the humanity in you, they send you away from your natural habitat. No. Terrorists are bad.
This is almost the last question. I'm going to throw to you. You have talked about the movement of money carelessly in Nigeria. And someone said that in Nigeria, we elected one legitimate president, which is President Muhammadu Buhari, GCFR. But that besides President Muhammadu Buhari, we are having over 120,000 presidents. And he predicated the explanation on the fact that if you have somebody who will house money in a house, a fortress, and have 20 people who bear arms, and that has become so common and we are not addressing it on the table of political opportunism and expediency, that we seems to be promoting democratic licentiousness, which allow all of this to thrive, and that is the reason why we have a handful of acts of terrorism in our country. Do you share this?
Price of indiscipline. We are paying the price of our indiscipline. We are in an indisciplined people. Why should somebody even have armed people around him? Why? Who is he? You know. Even in some countries, even leaders don't go about with heavily armed men moving around and terrorizing everybody or making everybody feel. You don't run a system by fear. You run a system by acquiescence of the people who are within that system. You engender trust between you and the people. But because our leaders do not engender trust, they have to have instruments of fear around them for people to respect them. And then when other people realize that, okay, it's only the instrument of fear that our people respect. They respect only people with money and people who surround themselves with the instrument of fear. So anybody who wants to have that level of respect will now accumulate money. And then once he accumulates money, he now gets people to gather around him with some instrument of fear, arms, so that people will see him as somebody. We have to reconfigure ourselves, and I don't know how we do it.
So beyond the kinetic operations of our security forces,
there are a lot of
what do you advise that we can do to torpedo this?
There are a lot of non-kinetic approaches we can do. One of them is to reorder our society, to re-engineer discipline in our society, to bridge our trust deficit, to make sure that the citizens trust the leadership, the citizens trust the government, the citizens trust the security agencies, to ensure that we gather sufficient intelligence on movements of persons, resources, and arms, and then we also gather enough intelligence on use and misuse of drugs. We gather enough intelligence, process this intelligence, share this intelligence. We would be able to, even within our own society, but we must reconfigure our society along the defined virtues of discipline. We are very, very indisciplined. We are very, very indisciplined. Nigeria is probably one of the most indisciplined countries in the world. We have to return discipline into our land. If we don't return our discipline in our land, we are really a lost nation.
Thank you very much. We have been all along talking with the quintessential Ahmad Sajo, a former commissioner of information and strategy at Adamawa State and a socio-political analyst. Thank you for being our guest this morning, and we hope you will make yourself available when we have time to beckon on you sometimes again.
Thank you very much. My pleasure always, all the time.
We can defeat this terror group as a nation if we unite. We must support our government and security forces to ensure that we hasten and quicken the defeat of this act of terrorism. This much was also emphasized yesterday by Sultan Abubakar III, the Sultan of Sokoto. This is where we draw in the curtain on this first segment of the discourse on nationalism and you. But do not change the channel, because we are coming up with the second segment immediately.